And he also didn't need to learn anything new other than following these steps. Like he didn't need to learn a new trade or get a different type of job. He just put the rules to use and slowly it worked.
Welcome to Learn With Us, brought to you by 3o3andyou. We are a team of 4 non-financial advisors who are exploring a revolutionary new financial approach that goes beyond money to prioritize your emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being. Through weekly meetings and engaging podcasts, we strive to help you improve all aspects of your well-being as well as ours. Come join us on this journey of growth and self-improvement because at 3o3andyou, we believe true wealth extends beyond dollars and cents. Happy learning!
Hey guys, how are you all doing today? Hope everybody's doing well. Today we're going over the Richest Man of Babylon, Chapter 9, the Clay Tablets of Babylon.
Hello.
What's up, everybody?
How are you? I'm pretty good too.
Super excited about this chapter. I was saying that it's exciting to see a chapter that's more what's the word I would say, pragmatical in its message. Not to say that the past few chapters haven't been, because it's all about stewardship and how to properly handle your money. But this one, it's more of a look, if you're stuck, here's kind of a step-by-step thing that you could try out.
I think he's just gets finally into the meat of it. I don't know another word of it. He finally gets down to what he was trying to get at the whole time. He was like beating around the bush, and now he's like, here it is. Like, this is.
I liked the fact that I could identify with parts of the story. I was like, oh, that's what I'm doing. Oh, that's what we're doing. Oh, perfect. So it was like verification that we're on the right path.
Because we're putting it to action just like he was doing, you're saying?
Yeah.
As you'll soon find out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's true. This is exactly what it would look like if you follow all the steps that the book has been talking about. That's true.
Yeah, because you can read as many books as you want and learn as much as you want, but nothing's going to change until you take the action to change.
I feel like we can't say that enough. You want to get right into this?
Yeah, I'm going to start off the chapter. There's it starts off with a letter, so I'm just going to read that. It says, "My dear professor, the 5 clay tablets from your recent excavation in the ruins of Babylon arrived on the same boat with your letter. I have been fascinated to no end and have spent many pleasant hours translating their inscriptions. I should have answered your letter at once, but delayed until I could complete the translations which are attached. The tablets arrived without damage, thanks to your careful use of preservatives and excellent packaging. You will be astonished, as we in the laboratory, at the story they relate. One expects the dim and distant past to speak of romance and adventure, Arabian Nights sorts of things, you know, when instead it discloses the problem of a person named Dabasir to pay off his debts. One realizes that conditions upon this old world have not changed as much in 5,000 years as one might expect. It's odd, you know, but these old inscriptions rather rag me, as the students say. Being a college professor, I am supposed to be a thinking human being, possessing a working knowledge of most subjects. Yet here comes this old chap out of the dust-covered ruins of Babylon to offer a way I had never heard of, to pay off my debts, and at the same time acquire gold to jingle in my wallet. A pleasant thought, I say, and interesting to prove whether it will work as well nowadays as it did in old Babylon. Mrs. Shrewsbury and myself are planning to try out his plan upon our own affairs, which could be much improved. Wishing you the best of luck in your worthy undertaking and waiting eagerly another opportunity to assist you, I am yours sincerely, Alfred H. Shrewsbury, Department of Archaeology, Nottingham University."
Bam.
So basically, this Alfred Shrewsbury, who works for the Department of Archaeology, received these clay tablets. They're how old? They're 5,000 years old. Is that what he's saying? And they're still intact. And you can still read the inscriptions.
He had to decode them, or must be written in the old language.
Wait, I forget what language they spoke in Babylonian.
This is the part that you were just talking about before, where that we felt like we actually connected to, because it's saying him and his wife want to go home and put it to use, which the 10% rule we've been putting to use, and it really does work. Like,
right. And we're up to more like 20% now that we're putting into investments, and then we're still paying off all of our debts basically equally, piece by piece. It's awesome.
It's
actually
super cool, right?
It is cool that it just keeps, I don't know.
Well, like he was saying, and that's his 5,000 years ago, you're thinking, man, their problems are going to be barbarians and knights and all this adventure and cool stuff. And he's like, I'm worried about my taxes and my
Yeah.
you're like, what?
My landlord.
It's the last thing you'd ever imagine.
So there's this thing in TikTok, a new trend of the envelope thing. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. People are taking their cash and just separating it in envelopes, and it's like this whole thing.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Well, they were doing that in Babylon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This new trend it's like the Babylonians had it going on. So
we've discovered something that no one else ever thought about. People 5,000 years ago.
History repeats itself.
It is indeed.
Honestly,
Unfortunately.
I think anything you think you invented or came up with, somebody else has already done it at some point.
Well, we keep saying we're going to put these tablets to use, but maybe we should hear what they are. Alita.
You want me to start reading?
That's your cue, Alita. Bring in Alita.
Let's go over these tablets. I will start off by reading the first one. Tablet number 1. Now when the moon becometh full, I dab a seer who am but recently returned from slavery in Syria, with the determination to pay my many just debts and become a man of means, worthy of respect in my native city of Babylon. Do here engrave upon the clay and permanent record of my affairs to guide and assist me in carrying through my high desires. Under the wise advice of my good friend Mathon, the gold lender, I am determined to follow an exact plan that he doth say will lead any honorable man out of debt into means and self-respect.
Is this just a continuation of the story from before, basically, right?
Yeah, I think so. That's what I kind of got.
That's what I got too. I almost felt like it was repeating itself a little bit.
That's exactly what I said. I said this is kind of just repetitive. I guess it's just explaining the fact that now this guy has the tablet, and when
it's like he's finally reading the story himself.
Yeah, when Dabasir like put it down on paper basically, and started like Juan said earlier, started executing it. Or right. I think maybe Connor said that.
And then this archaeologist got a hold of the tablets, so now it's him. It's his realization of it, or his discovery of it.
This plan includeth 3 purposes, which are my hope and desire. First, the plan doth provide for my future prosperity. Therefore, 1/10 of all I earn shall be set aside as my own to keep. For Mathon speaketh wisely when he saith, that man who keepeth in his purse both gold and silver that he need not spend is good to his family and loyal to his king. The man who hath but a few coppers in his purse is indifferent to his family and indifferent to his king. But the man who hath not in his purse is unkind to his family and is disloyal to his king, for his own heart is bitter. That is kind of true. Therefore, the man who wisheth to achieve must have coin that he may keep to jingle in his purse, that he have in his heart love for his family and loyalty to his king. Second, the plan doth provide, and I shall support and clothe my good wife, who hath returned to me with loyalty from the house of her father. For Mathon doth say, that to take good care of a faithful wife putteth self-respect into the heart of a man, and addeth strength and determination to his purpose. Therefore, 7/10 of all I earn shall be used to provide a home, clothes to wear, and food to eat, with a bit extra to spend, that our lives be not lacking in pleasure and enjoyment. But he doth further enjoy the greatest care that we spend not greater than 7/10 of what I earn for those worthy purposes. Herein lieth the success of the plan. I must live upon this portion and never use more nor buy what I may not pay for out of this portion.
Don't get in debt.
Well, how to get out? Well, yeah.
Yeah. No, I like how it says, I like how this message says that you can start attacking your debt without
giving up luxuries.
Yeah, without giving up everything that, that you need or want.
I know we talk about it all the time, but it's like the TVs and shows and stuff that we've realized that they almost convince you to buy all this stuff. And then when you think about it, you don't need it.
For real.
I have a big one. What about the food that doesn't actually feed you?
Yeah, well, that's something we've been recently thinking about ourselves. It's just
Just
like Cheetos and stuff that just do nothing but poison you.
yeah,
Yeah,
just
and
junk
like
food.
fast food,
It
junk food.
fills you, but it gives you no nutrition.
Snack food, junk food. Mm-hmm.
Sugar. That's a big one.
For real.
I feel like we're dietitians. We're always trying to.
Dude, that's interesting. Like cutting down on like sugary drinks and then going to water. How much money would that save?
It saves a ton because
Yeah.
we've done it.
That
Oh,
includes
soda. You can't imagine. But just like you're saying, like, that's with any of your spending habits, too. It's something you got to just wake up and cut out. There's no like,
Make an
you
adjustment.
got to, oh, I'm going to slowly lean off and only, no, you got to just determine and
Make a commitment.
commitment. That's the word. Thank you.
there's a saying in Japan, I don't know how to say it in Japanese, but it goes nip the problems when they're small.
Absolutely. Yeah, it almost will become a dirty habit or whatever you want to call it if you don't cut the spending off now.
With every bad habit, the longer you feed into it or procrastinate, the harder it's going to be to give it up eventually.
One of the things that drives people away from doing things right is that they think their problem is that they don't make enough money. But that's not the problem. The fact that they don't make enough money it's the how do you say it? It's the side effect to the fact that they don't know how to control their spending habits. That's the actual problem, that they have no discipline or financial discipline.
There's also people who have salaries who make more than enough money and they're still broke because they just don't know how to manage it.
Yeah,
like
that's true too.
with a big house and a big car and a boat and everything. So they're,
Oh yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah,
many
like my
millionaires
brothers.
have gone broke in the past.
yeah. So like you said, it's not really how much money you make. It's how you handle the money that you do make.
No, that's what I was trying to think. It's how much you keep, because I think about like the construction workers who are like, oh, I'm going to go to lunch every day, and they go to Subway, but then you're spending, $50 on subs a week when you could be making a sub at home for $10, for all the meat.
Literally.
Mm-hmm.
You could spend $20 to make 5 lunches for your week compared to more like probably 70, 80 now because how much stuff costs and the soda and everything else. But
Well, that's why I like the plan. Well, that's why I like this plan, because it has three. So it has three main purposes. The first one, it says that it wants to make sure that he has enough for the future, because right now he's messed up, like he's in the hole. And the plan is, all right, let's think about the future, because the future is important. It's not just always about the present and making sure that you drink all the beer that you can right now because YOLO. No, think about the future.
Make it to Friday and worry about it next week.
Mm-hmm. And then the second one, it's about the now, how to take care of the present without going over your means. And then the third one, as we're gonna see, is how to pay your debts. Three very, very important pillars for proper financial management. And the thing is, I think what's one of the things that makes this system or this method attractive is that it's not asking you, look, you need to get a different job, or you need to get a side hustle, or you need to do this and that and this and that. No,
You have
just
to
make
be making X amount of money to be able to make this work.
saying, look, just look at what you have right now, and obviously because it's the right thing to do the most you can at whatever job it is that you're doing. If you're a manager, you're the best manager. If you're a dishwasher, you're the best dishwasher. As long as you keep doing that and you follow this plan, then look, you don't need to worry about whatever other noises. But should I go to tablet number 2?
Start breaking down this plan
Yeah,
to
let's
how to
do
get
it.
out of the debts. I feel like that's a lot of people's problems right now, is that even us, when we weren't smart enough or educated, I guess is better. We weren't educated enough to know how not to get ourselves into a hole. And no, we're in the hole, and it's like it's endless and you'll never get to it. But even this guy can show you the whole town and still get out of it if you do it the right way.
Can I just add that I don't know if this is random, but I like how the first tablet that I was just reading mentions how Mathon says to take good care of a faithful wife, and that it puts self-respect into the heart of the man, because his wife was really faithful to him, because she could have left his ass when she was like, you are so full of debt and you are making our family look bad. And she had to go back to her father's house. You know how humiliating that may have been for her? And she still
I
stayed
can
faithful
picture
to
her
her
mother
husband.
being like, "Oh, I got a whole bunch of guys lined up for you." Always setting her
Her
up on
dad,
dates.
her dad could have been, her dad could have been like, I knew he was never good enough for you. Dang right, Dabasir, you take good care of your wife. I don't know. I just like that part. Men should take good care of their faithful partners.
It's true. The part where he says that if you, the man who had not in his purse is unkind to his family and disloyal to his king. That is so true. You actually, from personal experience, I'm gonna say that when I was poor, I would create a false sense of moral superiority to, in a way, well, am I saying it right? Yeah, like, and I would say, oh, if you're rich, it's because you're greedy and you are this and this and this and that, and it's better to be poor or whatever. But that came out of bitterness. It wasn't because I liked being where I was. It's because I hated it. And
Is he saying that you'd take that bitterness and you take it out on the king, so you make you
exactly.
disloyal because you're like, the king has all the money and here I am starving. What is he doing?
Well, society. I think the king is society itself. Like you just start hating society and all the benefits that it has, which are so many. We would, if it wasn't for society, we would be killing each other.
I feel like we've touched on that before. Like, people resent the wealthy because they have what you don't have, but really they mostly just have knowledge. So why don't you go get the knowledge and then you can have what they have?
Yeah, that's so good. Yeah, that's a nice point.
Well, yeah, and a lot of them, I mean, not all of them, but a lot of them started out where you might be.
If not worse.
For real.
That is true too, yeah.
Some worse, some started in a normal 9 to 5,
We were talking about the packet, Amazon. He started in his own garage. So, I mean, if you got a garage, you're a step ahead of some.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then what's to say some of these millionaires, they've gone broke and they got it back. So
yeah, I was just going to say, I was just listening to somebody and he's been a millionaire and then bankrupt like 4 times in a row. And now he's finally figured out his system and now he's about a billionaire. So
it's because he gets broke. He never's been poor once.
Yeah, he does say that.
Tablet number 2. Third, the plan doth provide that out of my earnings my debt shall be paid. Therefore, each time the moon is full, so every month, 2/10 of all I have earned shall be divided honorably and fairly among those who have trusted me and to whom I am indebted. Thus, in due time, will all my indebtedness be surely paid. Therefore, do I here engrave the name of every man to whom I am indebted and the honest amount of my debt. This is super cool because, okay, so in psychology, there's for some reason, there's this unreal result success with the 12-step program. Have you heard about the 12-step program? Is when you have problems. So if you have a problem that comes out of an addiction, so you have an addiction that's creating a problem, there's a program that has 12 steps, and this one for some reason has a crazy number of successes. It's so successful that psychologists recommend it. And one of the steps is to take everything that you have done wrong because of your because of your addiction.
Yeah.
Write it down and correct it. Now, what's going to happen is that when you're correcting it, people are going to say, hey, that's a good thing. Others are going to hate you. Some will belittle you and whatever. But the process of writing it down and try to better it makes it so that, I don't know, for some reason, you just like the cause for your addiction becomes less and less strong.
So you're saying your addiction to money, or his addiction to whatever got him into that bad debt, he could overcome almost due to the 12 steps, and he didn't even know he was on The 12th step.
It kind of reminds me of that exactly. Yeah. So he lists everyone that he did wrong to, and he goes. So the names are gonna be weird. Hopefully, I get them right. It said Faru, the cloth weaver, is 2 silver and 6 copper. Sinjar, the couch maker, 1 silver. Amar, my friend, 3 silver, 1 copper. Sankar, my friend, 4 silver, 7 copper. Askamir, my friend, 1 silver, 3 copper. Arinsir, the jewel maker, 6 silver, 2 copper. Diarbekir, my father's friend, 4 silver, 1 copper. Al-Kahad, the house owner, 14 silver. That was the landlord. He owed money to the landlord. Then Mathon, the gold lender, 9 silver. Birejik, the farmer, 1 silver, 7 copper. And then from here on, disintegrated, cannot be deciphered. So see, he listed everyone and exactly how much he owed them. That's very, very wise.
I feel like that's the great first step to, that's what we did. But we had these cool little charts that we put them on that helped us too. But we wrote it down. But I mean, I guess before we even got the charts, we just wrote it all down, did the math, looked at it, and it made it more, we're like, oh, okay, well, we can make that in a couple of years. Instead of like, oh, we have this magical debt, we don't know what it is, and it's scary and it's impossible.
The writing it down part is non-negotiable. It takes the idea out of your head and it makes it into something that's physical and that you can touch and change and play around with. It's not until you actually write it down that you cannot effectively work on the idea that you have. It's, I don't know why. Just
no, I agree.
you
Right?
have to
I
believe
understand
it.
what you're saying. It just
Yeah.
it makes it real in a way. Or
Yeah. So everyone who's listening to this, if you haven't written down your plan, make sure that you do so. And this is a good way. This is a good step-by-step tutorial on how to do it. This is a business plan, what he's doing. There's an explanation of what the purpose is, and then he's describing the plan, and then it's going to keep going and going. What can I say about the... Well, other than he owed the landlord a lot of money in Mathon.
I like how it's the couch maker. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I need a couch. Oh, you can borrow it for 1 silver. Like, okay, I'll pay you back. Never did.
And every time you sit on that couch, you're reminded of that, and then you're miserable because you were dishonorable.
Yeah, it'd be hard to be like, oh, the wife kicked me out. I'm sleeping on the couch tonight. I don't even own that couch.
Oh, that would be sad. Okay. So, tablet number 3. To these creditors do I owe in total 119 pieces of silver and 141 pieces of copper. Because I did owe these sums and saw no way to repay, in my folly, I did permit my wife to return to her father and disleave my native city and seek easy wealth elsewhere, only to find disaster and to see myself sold into the degradation of slavery. Now that Mathon doth show me how I can repay my debts in small sums of my earnings, do I realize the great extent of my folly in running away from the results of my extravagances. Therefore have I visited my creditors and explained to them that I have no resources with which to pay except my ability to earn, and that I intend to apply 2/10 of all my earn upon my indebtedness, evenly and honestly. This much can I pay, but no more. Therefore, if they be patient in time, my obligations will be paid in full. Amar, whom I thought my best friend, reviled me bitterly, and I left him in humiliation. Birajik, the farmer, pleaded that I pay him first, as he does badly need help.
Well, a little gold's probably not going to fix that.
Al-Kahad, the house owner, was indeed disagreeable and insisted that he would make me trouble unless I didst soon settle in full with him. All the rest willingly accepted my proposal. Therefore am I more determined than ever to carry through, being convinced that it is easier to pay one's just debts than to avoid them, even though I cannot meet the needs and demands of a few of my creditors, I will deal impartially with all.
This goes with your writing it down. I feel like now that he's took the second step, which is saying it out loud, because he can't just be like, oh, I'm going to do this. It's like now people are counting on me. He's almost put himself back on people's loans again. He's loaning his word now. Like, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, it's super, well, I don't know. It's not cool, but I like it. I like it that he didn't have it easy. He went to the people that he owed the money to, and we can see immediately that not everything is going to be, color of roses because you just suddenly decided to live the right way. There's still consequences to the actions, the actions that you made in the past.
I guess I never thought of that. That's pretty funny. It's like someone who's like found God or whatever, and they're like, oh, I'm good now. It's like, dude, you crashed into my house last week. Like, you can't just be like, oh, I found God now. Like,
exactly. No. So, and when that happens, don't feel disappointed because that's just the way it should go. You did something, there's going to be a consequence. It's just equally, if not more important than before, to persevere and keep going with the plan. Tablet number 4. Again, the moon shines full. I have worked hard with a free mind. Exactly. My good wife had supported my intentions to pay my creditors. Because of her wise determination, I have earned during the past moon, buying camels of sound wind and good legs for Nevatur, the sum of 19 pieces of silver, so that's 1/10 of what he owed. This I have divided according to the plan. 1/10 have I set aside to keep as my own. 7/10 have I divided with my good wife to pay for our living. 2/10 have I divided among my creditors as evenly as could be done in coppers.
Perfect. I like the wife.
Stick to the plan.
I like the wife part that he's like, all right, I don't really want to pay the bills and stuff, so I just give 7/10 to my wife, and she takes care of it.
I did not see Amar, but left it with his wife. That the friend wasn't happy with him. He was like, I don't want to see this guy.
Oh, really? Avoided him. No, but that's what I picture now that you say that. He probably was like, oh, he's here. Tell him I'm busy. He goes hide in his shop or whatever.
Yeah. Now, then Birejik was so pleased he would kiss my hand. Old Alcahad alone was grouchy and said I must pay faster. To which I replied that if I were permitted to be well fed and not worried, that alone would enable me to pay faster. What a great point, dude. We don't think about that, how much influence our well-being has on everything, basically.
Like, I could pay you faster, but I'll start feeling sick. I'll make no money, and then you'll get nothing, so...
Yeah. I guess we're just so used to living mediocrely. All the others thanked me and spoke well of my efforts. Therefore, at the end of one moon, my indebtedness is reduced by almost 4 pieces of silver, and I possess almost 2 pieces of silver besides, upon which no man hath claim. My heart is lighter than it hath been for a long time. That is so true. Once you start seeing your money accumulate,
the worry, the stress of never having to worry about that again, is pressure or whatever you want to call it. Just to,
it's actual pressure. You can feel actual weight on your shoulders. It's wild. All right. Again, the moon shines full. I have worked hard, but with poor success. Few camels have I been able to buy. Only 11 pieces of silver have I earned, so half of what he earned last month. Nevertheless, my good wife and I have stood by the plan, even though we have bought no new raiments and eaten little but herbs. Again, I paid ourselves 1/10 of the 11 pieces, while we lived upon 7/10. I was surprised when Amar commended my payment, even though small. So did Birejik. Alcahad flew into a rage, but when told to give back his portion, if he did not wish it, he became reconciled.
I love that. He's like, well, if you don't want
give it back.
He's like, oh, it's so small. Well, then just give it back. I'll give you some next week. He's like, oh, no, it's fine. It'll work.
Sounds like something I say with my kids. But that's not a big enough bowl of ice cream. Well, then give it to me. I'll eat it. Oh, no, it's okay. I'm like, yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay, so it's been 2 months in the same tablet. Now it's going to be a third one. So it goes, again, The moon shines full, and I am greatly rejoiced. Nice. All right, dude. You deserve it. You deserve it. It says again, I intercepted a fine herd of camels and bought many sound ones. Therefore, my earnings were 42 pieces of silver. This moon, my wife and myself have bought much needed sandals and raiments. They needed it.
That
though.
goes with.
Also, we
I
have
just
dined.
want to. That goes
What's up?
with
Go.
that you don't have to cut out everything and never allowed to buy anything ever again, and you never, he's in debt still. But guess what? He's like, you know what? We did a little good this week or this moon, so let's get some new sandals. Let's spoil ourselves. We're still gonna pay our debt, but we got a little extra to.
Yeah, no, it's like it said at the beginning. The plan needs to make sure that they have money to
Live.
have fun.
Take care of yourself.
Yeah.
All right, so it says also we have dined well on meat and fowl. You deserve it. All right, so it goes on to say more than 8 pieces of silver we have paid to our creditors. Even Al-Kahad did not protest. Great is the plan, for it leadeth us out of debt and giveth us wealth, which is ours to keep. So he's liking the plan. 3 times the moon hath been full since I last carved upon this clay. Each time I paid to myself 1/10 of all I earned. Each time my good wife and I have lived upon 7/10, even though at times it was difficult. Each time have I paid to my creditors 2/10. In my purse I now have 21 pieces of silver that are mine. It maketh my head to stand straight upon my shoulders, and maketh me proud to walk among my friends. My wife keepeth well our home, and is becomingly gowned. We are happy to live together. The plan is of untold value. Had it not made an honorable man of an ex-slave? Super cool.
Not only is his wife home, but she's home in nice gowns, like she's fed, and like that's complete turnaround.
Yeah, look, they're both looking good, and they're both happy because now they have 21 silvers of 21 pieces of silver without having to. Well, they have sacrifice. They have,
but they didn't have to borrow it, or it's 100%
With
theirs.
small sacrifices. And they also didn't need to learn anything new other than following these steps. Like, he didn't need to learn a new trade or get a different type of job. He just put the rules to use, and slowly it worked.
Yeah, that's the point. That's the point I was trying to make, that he kept his same set of skills.
I like how the landlord, even because he had a good month, he finally gave him some, and he didn't even complain. I think it's also to do with the fact that, he's been keeping up the payments. So the fact that, this week he's even willing to do more. He's not that he's happy he's finally paid off his debt or anything, but he's finally this guy's not playing around. Anytime he's got extra, he gives it to me. Like, he doesn't just short me, but he also gives me extra when he's got it.
Tablet number 5. Again, the moon shines full, and I remember that it is long since I carved upon the clay. 12 moons, in truth, have come and gone. But this day I will not neglect my record, because upon this day I have paid the last.
Yes.
This is
Sorry.
the day.
It was a year.
See.
I'm sorry.
Hold on. No, I liked it, but I was like, where did I just go? This is the day upon which my good wife and my thankful self celebrate with great feasting, and our determination hath been achieved. Many things occurred upon my final visit to my creditors that I shall long remember. Amar begged my forgiveness for his unkind words, and that I was one of all others he most desired for a friend.
That was the friend that was ignoring him, and then the wife had to pick it up, right?
The one that was mad at him, I think.
So that's awesome.
Yes. Old Al-Kahad is not so bad after all, for he said, "Thou wert once a piece of soft clay, to be pressed and molded by any hand that touched thee, but now thou art a piece of bronze, capable of holding an edge. If thou needest silver or gold at any time, come to me." Hold on, which one was
the
he?
landlord?
Was he...
That's what I thought.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Nor is he the only one who holdeth me in high regard. Many others speak differentially to me. My good wife looketh upon me with a light in her eye that doth make a man have confidence in himself. I love that part. Yet it is the plan that hath made my success. It hath enabled me to pay all my debts, and to jingle both gold and silver in my purse. I do commend it to all who wish to get ahead. For truly, if it will enable an ex-slave to pay his debts and have gold in his purse, will it not aid any man to find independence? Nor am I myself finished with it, for I am convinced that if I follow it further, it will make me rich among men.
Bam.
Yes, it will.
It's not even a question. Yeah, yes, it will if he sticks to it.
It's just math. It's simple math.
Well, and the thing is, it did, because he became the richest man.
Took proof right there. I just like that everybody changes. He goes from being the poorest man in Babylon to, literally a slave from his actions, to now people are like, I will give you gold. Before they would spit on him and be like, you stole my gold. And now they're like, how much do you need, man?
Yeah, and when you say he was the poorest man in Babylon, that's accurate, right? Because he wasn't broke; he was poor because he had given up. So
no, he had no intentions to ever pay anyone. He said, "What? I'm never gonna get that. You're in a tough spot." Ends with a cute little letter from the professor one more time.
He was supposed to try it out.
Yeah, so
he was gonna try out the plan.
So yeah, I will read the closing letter from the professor. Is it from the professor?
No,
to
it's
the
to
professor.
the professor. It's from
the
the same guy that wrote the one at the beginning.
Oh, okay. Right. Do they say what he is?
Yeah.
Department of Archaeology.
No, wait, the archaeology. He sent it to that, didn't he?
No, yours sincerely, Alfred H. Shrewberry, Department of Archaeology.
So he's an archaeologist.
Yeah.
I think it's an archaeologist who works at a museum is talking to another archaeologist who is
his
digging,
professor.
who's digging.
Okay.
Yeah, because the one
I
was
just feel like they're
cooking,
both
remember?
professors.
And the other
Probably,
one
that's what he's saying.
That's
probably both.
Yeah.
Well, I think they are both professors, but this guy that sent him the thing was his professor is what I'm getting from it, because it says, my dear
Oh.
That makes sense.
So maybe like his mentor.
And he knew he was like one of the best decoders, so he sent him
Okay.
a tablet or whatever.
Or maybe he's just saying...
Or maybe that's just how they talk.
That's what I don't know.
All right. Anyways. Sorry.
We need a decoder now.
It says, my dear professor, if in your further digging into those ruins of Babylon, you encounter the ghost of a former resident, an old camel trader named Dabasir, do me a favor. Tell him that his scribbling upon those clay tablets so long ago has earned for him the lifelong gratitude of a couple of college folks back here in England. You will possibly remember my writing a year ago that Mrs. Shrewsbury and myself intended to try his plan for getting out of debt and at the same time having gold to jingle, even though we tried to keep it from our friends, our desperate straits. We were frightfully humiliated for years by a lot of old debt and worried sick for fear some of the tradespeople might start a scandal that would force me out of the college. We paid and paid every shilling we could squeeze out of our income, but it was hardly enough to hold things even. Besides, we were forced to do all our buying where we could get further credit regardless of higher costs. It developed into one of those vicious circles that grow worse instead of better. Our struggles were getting hopeless. We could not move to less costly rooms because we owed the landlord. There did not appear to be anything we could do to improve our situation. Then here comes your acquaintance, the old camel trader of Babylon, with a plan to do just what we wished to accomplish. He jolly well stirred us up to follow his system. We made a list of all our debts, and I took it around and showed it to everyone we owed. I explained how it was simply impossible for me to ever pay them the way things were going along. They could readily see this themselves from the figures. Then I explained that the only way I saw to pay in full was to set aside 20% of my income each month to be divided equally, which would pay them in full in a little over 2 years. That in the meantime, we would go on a cash basis and give them the third benefit of our cash purchases. That's nice. I like that. So they're like, we don't want you to suffer, so we'll continue to sell you what you need, but you have to pay us in cash. We're not giving you any more credit. Like, you pay your credit slowly and then you pay what you need in cash. Like, that's fair. Like, I just think that's nice. Give him a chance.
This is all to do with him actually putting it on paper, though, as we keep saying. He put it on paper and he showed them, and people can see it, and it made it real literally everything we said.
He wrote a business
Basically, I was just going to say, he wrote like a plan to pay off his debt and showed exactly the proof of what it would be. So people they were a lot more willing. They were really quite decent. Our greengrocer, a wise old chap, put it in a way that helped to bring around the rest.
It's one of my favorite parts.
I'm not reading it the way that we listen to it, though.
Not in the way the audiobook does it.
If you pay for all you buy, and then you pay some of what you owe, that is better than you have done, for ye ain't paid down the account none in 3 years.
It is funny, but it's really deep, too, at the same time. Like, you have paid zero, so if you're going to give me 1 penny a week, well, that's better than 0 a week, so...
It's only funny because of the twangy accent if you listen to the audiobook. Finally, I secured all their names to an agreement binding them not to molest us as long as the 20% of income was paid regularly.
That's a good clause.
For real. Don't harass me.
Molest us, please.
Don't bug me.
You were told in advance.
Yeah. Then we began scheming on how to live upon 70%. We were determined to keep that extra 10% to jingle. The thought of silver and possibly gold was most alluring. It was like having an adventure to make the change. We enjoyed figuring this way and that to live comfortably upon the remaining 70%. We started with rent and managed to secure a fair reduction. Next, we put our favorite brands of tea and such under suspicion and were agreeably surprised how often we could purchase superior qualities at less cost. It is too long a story for a letter. We managed, and right cheerfully at that. What a relief it proved to have our affairs in such a shape we were no longer persecuted by past due accounts. I must not neglect, however, to tell you about that extra 10% we were supposed to jingle. Well, we did jingle it for some time. Now, don't laugh too soon. You see, that is the sporty part. It is the real fun, to start accumulating money that you do not want to spend. There is more pleasure in running up such a surplus than there could be in spending it.
Because when you spend it, that happiness goes away so fast with whatever it is.
It fades almost, but
if, yeah. But the money, since it stays, you go back to it, and the happiness.
It's even better. It's like Christmas every time. No, we check our staff. We try to look at it as little as possible, just for that reason. So we check it, and it's been a month, and it's up another $100. You're like, whoa!
Are you talking about your stash? I literally just said the exact same thing.
I was just going to laugh and say, Connor constantly, you say you try not to check it, but at least every couple of weeks, he'll just walk up to me and just stick his phone in my face. And I'm like, it's our stash account. And he's like, look how much money we have. I'm like, yeah, great. Awesome. Don't show me that. I'm trying to pretend it doesn't exist.
I don't look at it that way. I get happy.
After we had jingled to our heart's content, we found a more profitable use for it. We took up an investment upon which we could pay that 10% each month. This is proving to be the most satisfying part of our regeneration. It is the first thing we pay out of my check. There is the most gratifying sense of security to know our investment is growing steadily. By the time my teaching days are over, it should be a snug sum, large enough so that the income will take care of us from then on. All this out of my same old check. Ooh, see, right there. Same old, didn't change anything. Mm-hmm. Difficult to believe, yet absolutely true. All our debts being gradually paid, and at the same time, our investment increasing. Besides, we get along financially even better than before. Who would believe there could be such a difference in results between following a financial plan and just drifting along? At the end of the next year, when all our old bills shall have been paid, we will have more to pay upon our investment besides some extra for travel. We are determined never again to permit our living expenses to exceed 70% of our income. Now you can understand why we would like to extend our personal thanks to that old chap whose plan saved us from our hell on earth. He knew he had been through it all. He wanted others to benefit from his own bitter experiences. That is why he spent tedious hours carving his message upon that clay. He had a real message for fellow sufferers, a message so important that after 5,000 years it has risen out of the ruins of Babylon, just as true and just as vital as the day it was buried. Yours sincerely, Alfred H. Shrewsbury, Department of Archaeology.
Wow.
Dun, dun, dun.
Wow, yeah, that's...
So he ended up using the rules.
Used the rules, put them to use, and now he's saying he's going to literally put everything he had in debt, he's going to start just putting that towards his investments, except for travel. So he's even plans on spoiling himself even more, and that's part of the debts he's willing to have, which is, I just found that amazing.
Well, it won't be a debt. I was just thinking that his travel, it probably won't.
Yeah, it's
It
not
won't
a
be
debt,
any. It won't be any
expense.
debt.
You're right. It's just an expense.
It'll
he
just be an
plans
expense,
for.
but he's got the savings to fund
He
it.
funds it.
Plus more.
That's important too, because we might unconsciously gravitate towards the other extreme. You know, we went from spending money we didn't have to not spending any money at all, and both extremes are equally destructive.
It'll make you
The
quit, I
idea
feel
is
like,
to-
almost. If you save so much, you're like, this isn't for me. I'm so sick of not being able to buy ice cream or whatever
Mhm.
your joy is.
If you push yourself too far.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's why in all the all the
fun.
changes that we've talked about, like financially or not, like even
That makes
just
me,
us as friends, is they're small changes.
that kind of makes me think of the time when we were reading that one book and you said, "Oh, we can't have a car; it's so expensive." And I'm like, "No, we can still have a car."
Yeah.
But you know, if you think about it, you're right. You're like, I gotta be homeless. No cars, no house. There's 10 expenses gone. Like, well, no, you have to have a house. You need somewhere to come home to. You need a car to get around because no one wants to walk in the middle of winter. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it would all depend. If you lived in an area where you could work, right down the road and you could walk.
But exactly, and don't have a truck if a small sedan can
absolutely.
do the job.
For sure. But if you need a car to get to be in a place to work where you make, 10 times more money, then clearly you get the car because
well, yeah, you're a plumber and you
basically
need to carry
budget.
pipes. You're gonna need a truck, but
you could just basically make a plan or a budget and see whether or not you do need it and if it's going to be beneficial, because everything's going to have an expense, but can you benefit from it?
Mm-hmm.
It's like our cat said when he was teaching the class. The purpose of the budget is not to create suffering, it's to help you be happier. Because if you write down all of the things that you like, then you'll realize that some of them are actually unnecessary and it'll be unrealistic to pursue. So if you get rid of those, you'll feel lighter and you'll have more time to pursue things that you truly care about. It doesn't mean get rid of all the things that you like. It means find the ones that are the most important, the ones that you can truly afford, and keep going at it, because it's important to have fun in life.
no, like I feel like we say it all the time. Don't not go to Dunkin' Donuts, but don't go every day of the week. Make it a Sunday thing because you rewarded yourself for a good week. Or
Yes, that's a good point. What happened now is that we convince the reward with the method itself. We think that the reward is the method, when in reality the reward is something that you get for following the method. Like we watch TV all day because we think that's the method, but no, you should watch TV after you're done doing your work.
yeah, I don't want to say deserve. It's the only word that comes into my head. I'm trying to think of a better one, but like you need to deserve it almost. You need to earn
it.
the time. Like almost like a child with like it's tablet time. You've earned it from cleaning your room and stuff. Like I don't know a better way to.
No, it's exactly that. I agree.
Man, what a great chapter. I really like this one. It just puts you in your place almost, that no matter what situation you're in, it's on you. It's up to you. Come up with a plan. Put it to action. That should be our call to action this week, I feel like. Get your plan. Get your debt. Put it into a plan.
Mm-hmm. Write it down. It's going to be painful and maybe even humiliating to have to face the mistakes of your past. But just think about that. It was mistakes from the past. So they don't define you. You're trying to make it better. Oh, another thing that I wanted to talk about that I almost forgot is when you do something wrong and then you finally decide that you screwed up and you actually regret it, and the way that you show that you regret it is not just saying that you regret it, is by creating a plan, facing the people that you disrespected or did something to, and then if you go to them and face them and talk to them sincerely and apologize and offer a plan to make it better, somehow, for some reason, that's going to cause your brain to let go of that weight, and it's going to transfer that the weight or not weight, but it's gonna force the other person to have to take action. So it's not gonna be up to you now. It's gonna be up to the other person what happens. And if the other person doesn't want to accept your apology, it won't matter, because in your brain you already did the right thing. So even if, what I'm trying to say is that just writing the plan and executing it is going to be just as good as if you follow the plan, talk to everybody, and completed it. Did that make sense? Yes.
Yes. Well, as you're saying, he went to pay off some of his bills, and they were mad at him or didn't want to talk to him, but that didn't stop him. He still paid him every week. That wasn't like their reaction to him paying him isn't stopping his plan. Like, you're only going to get the 2% every month, and that's what you're getting. Don't, or as the other guy who's in modern day, as he was doing it, he also had the same reaction where it was like, oh, wow, people were very understanding. Even, the groceries lender who let me buy those groceries, he was like, oh, you're right, you'll never pay me back, but if you do it this way, at least I have a chance.
Yeah, like you can take people's encouragement and use it to like fuel your desire to continue with your plan, but people's negativity you should just ignore. Just brush it off.
Yeah.
Haters gonna hate.
For real. There's always somebody that's not going to agree with you. Just ignore them.
Well, unless they have a good point.
Oh, well, yeah. If they're experts too, as we always say, go to an expert. If they're an expert telling you that's not a good plan, but if it's your uncle who's been poor his whole life telling you that's not a good plan, maybe don't take it so seriously.
Yeah. Right. So if the brickmaker is telling you don't buy that
house,
that style of brick, maybe you should probably listen. Get a second opinion, pay attention. But
yeah, no point of being rude and being like, oh, that guy knows nothing. But you should take their advice as much as as they know.
What's that saying? It's like take people's advice as a grain of salt or something like that. I feel like.
Don't let it hurt you either way.
I really like salt, so I mean, sorry.
Well, I don't. Do we have anything else to say about the chapter? I think we can wrap it up.
That's about it.
Yeah, I would say it was a good one. We've got one more.
Yeah, it's a nice whatchamacallit? Like it keeps up the momentum and creates even more. So now I really, really want to know how the book is gonna end.
Oh, it goes off this tone, you're saying? It's the same energy. It's chapter 10, The Luckiest Man in Babylon. Hope to catch everybody there.
We already know what luck means.
Someone's making their own.
Yeah, you make your own luck.
Hard work. All right.
Oh, so he's just saying the hardest working man in Babylon.
It's gotta be, right?
I like that. No, according to the luck, yeah.
What a great book, dude.
All right. See everybody there.
Peace.
Bye. Have a good week.
See you later, alligator.
Thank you for joining us this week. We hope you've enjoyed our discussion and found it both informative and entertaining. Please stay connected with us and continue the conversation on our social media. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. You can also catch us on most podcast platforms and catch up on previous episodes. If you have any suggestions or topics you'd like us to explore in the future, we'd love to hear from you, and you can reach out to us via email at 3o3andyou@gmail.com. Don't forget to leave us a review and share the podcast with your friends and family if you've enjoyed what you've heard. We will be back next week with more engaging topics and insightful conversations. Until then, take care, stay curious, and happy learning.